Are you seeking a better way to accelerate your sales, to scale your business, to live a life with no limits? Accelerate Sales Podcast features global experts who have cracked the code to recurring revenues with proven sales systems and get you on the fast track to scaling. Now let's accelerate your sales with today's episode.
Welcome to the Accelerate Sales Podcast. You're going to learn two key things from today. One is the benefits of using Instagram and LinkedIn to accelerate your sales. This is specifically why I've got the world's best person on to talk about that. And the second is how to absolutely win with Reels. She gives some amazing secrets on it. So if it's your first time here, welcome. And if you love what you hear or see, please subscribe. If you're a regular, always love those reviews. Now, always take your own notes, but we have got a summary notes that's going to be in the app that you're listening to. And also you can go and get more detail on all the links, etc. at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast. And also there's a chance to get a full transcription. I take plenty of notes myself, so if I look down, don't be worried about that. Also, I'd love to take a moment to thank our sponsors. So the first one is the Cloud Consultants Collective. It's a free Slack community where like-minded peers are helping each other to scale their cloud consulting business. Just go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/CCC. And the second, I should say, is a way to take all of that. If you're manually taking information out of LinkedIn, it's a real pain, whether it's, someone's profile, putting in your sales CRM, or also, copying the messages. This platform will remove that. It's called leadjet.io, and you go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/leadjet. All those links will be in the show notes as well. So today's guest is a co-author of the Dummies for Instagram and also the Dummies for Instagram for Business. So, we're talking about the person that helped write those books, and what they do is help businesses to really benefit and really draw clients to them online and have fun as well. So she's a fantastic guest. Her name is Corey Walker from the Marketing Specialist and marketingspecialist.com, and I'll hand you over to her now. Welcome, Corey. So fantastic to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Instagram for Dummies. So I've got to first just quickly start off with, how did you be the person that co-authored that? It's an amazing series of books. How did you fall into that?
Yeah, well, one of my co-authors, Eric Buteau, he has written several Dummies books, several kind of tutorial type books. So he really had the in with Wiley, who is the publisher, and they had wanted to do an Instagram book. And so they approached him and said, "Hey, can you write this book?" And he said, "Yeah, I can." He knows how to write for dummies. There's a very specific kind of way. And, but he said, I'm going to need another subject matter expert. So I've known Eric for a long time, and I was using Instagram for my business at the time and for some of my clients. And so he reached out and asked if I would like to write the book with him. And then we also were able to get Jen Herman, who's a, big Instagram, teacher and expert. And so she is on the book as well. And so the three of us have worked on, well, ironically, today we are signing the contract to do Instagram, Instagram for Dummies, the second edition. So we have Instagram for Business for Dummies. We have 2 editions out, and then we're going to work on Instagram for Dummies, the second edition. So yeah, 4 books now.
That's great. I'm still recovering from writing my first book. And I don't know if I got a second in me, but maybe, do you think, have you ever written a book by yourself, or has it always been as a collaboration?
No, the only thing, I do have a Reels ebook, but that's an ebook. So it's, that's like 25 pages but I've never written my own book. And I will tell you, I can imagine it's a lot harder than writing a book for a publisher, just because They give you very hard deadlines. You can't push anything out like you can if it's your own project, which I would probably do. So you have very hard deadlines, and they have a whole kind of system, and they have editors and fact checkers and all of that kind of stuff. So that really helps make sure that the book is, the best that it can possibly be, and that it's marketable and all those things. So it helps for sure.
I must admit, writing mine, probably the thing that made it a little more difficult is I wrote it on a dialysis machine. So that's probably not what I'd recommend anyone else.
No, yeah.
Hopefully no one will go through dialysis, but it was pretty tough. And it was funny, the nurses used to laugh because, get to the end of, it was 3 times a week, 4.5 hours, and I'd get to the end of the 4.5 hours and I'd say, Helen, can you just wait? Like, just let me on a bit longer. And they're like, what? No one says they want longer dialysis. And I'm like, yeah, but I just got to finish this bit of the chapter. Like,
yeah.
and they used to laugh because, most people would, the longer you're on dialysis, normally, you can't even sit up. So for the fact that I can sit up and type, they were quite amazed. So I became a bit of a novelty, I suppose, in the dialysis.
Yeah.
But thanks to Brendan. I know Brendan doesn't watch any of my shows, but thanks to him, he donated his kidney and no more dialysis, and therefore no more books. And I
so that was like keeping you writing because you're stuck there.
Correct. I think I need, once we can travel again, I think it's overseas trips may be better. That's another place I love to write on. But it's not about writing. I know you've written this great book, but let's bring it into our audience. So, but before we do that, tell me who currently you love to work with, and what are some of the problems that you help them solve?
I actually work with a lot of healthcare companies and restaurants. So it's kind of a weird mix, but they tap into different sides of my brain. But I love working with both. So an ideal client for me would probably be, any of those section, because I have a lot of industry knowledge about them. But I've also been, developing and working on some programs for women entrepreneurs that are looking to get out there a little bit more and just get seen and taking what I've done for my business and helping them replicate that. So
yeah, and I know that that's your ideal client. But you've written an amazing book, which is for dummies. And I think, I'm not calling you listening or watching now a dummy, but I think most cloud consultants spend their time on LinkedIn. If we're going to double down on anything, it's so for me, since 2019, I've been on LinkedIn. I've had over, I think now it's 3.5 million views, lots of clients. It's been an absolute game changer for us, but I've always dabbled a little bit with Instagram. So at the moment, we repurpose the podcast on Instagram. We have some posts, but it's not something that I've really got into. And recently, because I'm a tragic golfer, I've been into TikTok and just that Reels. The whole thing of TikTok has been brilliant for my golf game. So I'm sort of sought who's the best in the world that can talk about Instagram, and why would someone doing a B2B services business want to be interested in Instagram and maybe interested in Reels? So when you get that challenge, the one I've just given you now, what comes to mind?
Well, I would say that, LinkedIn is a great resource for B2B. And actually, besides Instagram, LinkedIn is kind of my second go-to, actually above Facebook at this point, because Facebook it's so hard to get any reach there anymore. But Instagram, I would say there's so many people that are on Instagram just on a daily basis, just for, their own pleasure. And so there is room for those B2B companies to be out there and to be giving out, some kind of tips, or maybe before and after of how a company was working and how it wasn't working for them, and how you improved, their systems flow or their sales management, any of that kind of thing. There's definitely things that you can look at and look at what you're doing on LinkedIn and say, okay, now how could that transfer over to a short tip or something that I could use in a reel, or even if you have something that was more of an article or a blog post, I mean, you could put an image of that up there. And then I use Linktree. So, you have just that one link in your bio, but I'll use a Linktree, and that allows me to have a landing page that could have, many, many links on it. So there's ways that you can link out, and everyone's used to the, link in bio. And also within stories now, you can link out directly. So that was something that they had reserved for just people that had 10,000 followers or more, which, a lot of people don't have that many followers. So now you can link out directly. So if you had some kind of article that you were maybe featured in, or if you had a case study about a company where you improved the way that they were working with their systems, that's something that you could put on Instagram and link out. So there's definitely ways, and I will repurpose some of the reels that I do on Instagram. I'll put them over on LinkedIn, and not a lot of people do that because they kind of think like, oh, Instagram's just for fun and LinkedIn's, more for business. But there's starting to, like, LinkedIn, I feel like is starting to get a little bit more casual, not so like uptight. And I don't do I don't do anything that crazy anyway, but like, I'm not going to go dancing on LinkedIn. I don't dance on Instagram either, by the way, but I try to reserve the ones that are a little bit more straightforward. Yes. Unless it's Friday, sometimes I do a fun Friday, and then I'll, be lip syncing to Elmo or something.
and do you use with the reels with LinkedIn, do you use subtitles, or is it because it's a quick reel? You're using the how much do you have to edit or adjust the footage from a reel to make it a LinkedIn?
Not much. You can, I can like download it and send it over. And they have ways that you can, I can share it. So it saves to my camera roll, and then I can share it over onto LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay.
And I usually get a lot of feedback on those because I think it does stick out a little bit. And it's, longer. So it's taking up more space in the feed of LinkedIn. So yeah, and it's a fun new medium to practice with. And if you can get good at, some short clips, you can use those multiple places. So you can use them now, you can just put them over on TikTok as well. I'm talking specifically about Reels, but Reels is pretty much the number one thing on Instagram right now. So,
once again, I've got limited knowledge on Instagram. So I think, let's say that's most of it. So there's three key things. So there's like your posts, there's your reels and your stories. Are they sort of the three key areas?
Yeah, those would probably, the main feed, which the reels do feed into if you tell them to, which most people will automatically say, go to the feed. But so, people can do a straight, graphic or photo in the feed, and they can do a video, just a regular video can go straight in the feed, and that can be a lot longer. Yes. You can do a reel and then stories. And you can do a live as well. Yep. So if somebody wants to, talk for a while about a certain subject matter, or invite people to do, to hear about some new product they're offering or anything like that, they can use a live for that.
Okay. And like you said, reels are hot at the moment. So, what are the things that make your reels fantastic versus someone like myself who's just starting out? Give us some shortcuts on how we get this thing rocking.
Okay. So one of the things that I've found and I've tested a lot is keeping them short. So you can do up to 60 seconds, and they're talking about going up to 3 minutes. I'm not sure if they've made that switch yet. But I have found that the ones that are under 10 seconds, if you can believe it, are the most popular because, yeah, people just don't have that long attention span unless it's something they're just super engaged with. Like you were talking about golf. If somebody was, maybe talking about perfecting this, perfect swing and they were going through the steps of it and you were like, yes, I want to know, then you can get away with something a little bit longer. But most people, if they're just kind of scrolling through, if it gets past that 30-second mark, they're just checked out. So you have to keep that in mind. It's more of something to reel someone in, literally. So that's one thing. Another thing is using some text overlays. So in the beginning, I will usually try and have something that lets them know what the video is about. So for instance, today I did 5 websites I wish I'd known sooner. And so that comes up right away. So then people know, what's this going to be about? And if you can use something that has more of a hook, that's, people are kind of asking the question, oh, well, I wonder what those are. Then, they'll stay a little bit longer.
And what are you doing that in? Are you doing it native in Reels, or third party app?
I just usually I'm kind of one of those I just want to get out there quick and dirty and get it done. Yeah. So I usually use straight in the app. Although there are people that like CapCut or InShot or Capwing, any of those. If you want to do some more fancier editing, but the Reels within Instagram, they have a lot of good tools. So they allow you to, add audio, which that's another one of my tips is to try and find the trending audio.
And how would you find a trending audio? How would you go about that?
So there's a few different ways. So one of the ways that you can go to Talkboard, TOK, like TikTok, talkboard.com, and they will tell you the trending songs that are on TikTok right now, which it transfers over. So that's one way. I usually, since I watch a lot of Reels, you start hearing some of the same songs over and over, and you'll see at the bottom of the Reels, it tells you what song it is. And if it's trending, it'll have a little arrow going up. So, okay, this one's, on the rise. And then you can just click that and it'll take you to a page that has all of the videos that were made with that audio. And so you can say use audio and you can film right then, or you can save it and use it whenever you want. And it just saves in your audio files. So that's another way. If you scroll through and just look for those little trending up arrows, you'll see that a lot. So those are the ways that I usually look for the trending audio. And like I said, once you've watched enough of them, you're like, oh, there's that song again. And which normally you would think, oh, well, then I don't want to use it. But it's kind of a backwards thing. It's the more people use it, the more Instagram plays it. And so it does supposedly help.
Yeah.
Get more.
And are you shooting native on your phone straight away? You're doing first you're doing the recording and then uploading it as a video? How does it work?
I the one I did this morning, I did straight within Reels. And you can add text in the Reels, and then they have some cool features where you can, so if you are putting in multiple videos, little 5-second clips, you can add the text on there, and then they'll let you, just have it for this section of the clip. You can, film something a little bit longer and trim it down. You can add, stickers. You can also cut and paste. If you have, say I wanted to put one of my books on the screen, I could, copy and paste that from my camera roll. So it really, it's
easy by the sounds of it.
It's pretty good on its own. So, And I like to keep things fairly simple. There's people that do, tons of transitions and things like that. But even a lot of that you can do within the reel. So yeah, it's fun.
Right.
I mean, I would say just practice with it.
Yeah. It's I think, I think LinkedIn, you can, not hide's the wrong word, but right, a lot of it can be text, can be polls, can be, done by other people, but this is you, right? And I think if people want to know and trust you, I think this is, they got it.
Oh, for sure.
You, right? So I think that's
yeah.
right. What about, other tips, like is there, certain how do the hashtags work on Reels in Instagram?
Yeah, so you can use up to 30, just like on a regular post.
Yeah.
And another thing that Instagram has started doing more of is SEO just on the words that you're using in your caption. And this is kind of throughout Instagram. So, so not only do you have those hashtags, but if you use, particular words in your caption, that's going to help you as well. So, I don't usually use a full 30 just because I run out of things to think about. But I do use several, and my hashtags are usually around Instagram, but then I do use some that are local to me. So I might do, like I'm in outside of Sacramento, California. So I might use, Sacramento marketing or Folsom marketing. That's another city near where I am. So, but yeah, definitely I say the hashtags are there, use them effectively. Don't use hashtags that are just, so huge, because you'll just get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know with LinkedIn, there's a bit of debate at the moment whether you should use your own hashtag, because some experts are saying use your own hashtag so that that indexes better on Google. So someone can go into Google and go hashtag Paul Higgins or Paul Higgins mentoring, and it'll have all of the LinkedIn posts there. Is a similar thing happen with Instagram? That do you use your own hashtag? Is one of the 30?
You can, yeah. And I probably need to be better about that, because I'll use it. Like I recently did a Reels challenge. So I created a new hashtag just for the challenge so that I could see what the people that were subscribing to the challenge were doing. So I'd say use, Corey's Reel challenge on there, and then I could see what they were doing. But yes, if you are creating lots of content on a regular basis, using a hashtag that's, just for you is a great way to go. And I don't know how much it transfers over, if you just did a search on Google, if it's picking that up or not, but it's worth checking. And it's also kind of nice if you tell someone, go to this hashtag on Instagram, you'll see,
Yes.
all my videos, and yeah.
Yeah, great. And what about as far as consistency that you just mentioned, like, how often should we be doing Reels when we start? Is it, once a day, once a week? Like how does the algorithm work, and what's the best way to?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can do a reel a day, you're awesome. And clap for you. I started doing one a week. Now I'll do maybe 2, maybe 3 if I'm really like on my game. So the people that I've been seeing growing a lot have been doing them daily, even more than once a day. But for most people, that's not that likely that they're going to be able to do that. But if you can get out, one a week and just start practicing, because it does, the first couple times you do it, it's going to take you a while to like learn all of the ways to add text and things like that. It takes some practice. But now, like this morning I did one, and it has, I think, 5 or 6 different segments to it. And I did it in 20 minutes or so. Yeah. So,
and does it allow you to have a template? Like, can you have a template that you can just reuse, or you got to do it individually each time?
I do it individually. You can do some things within Canva. Yeah. So you can do like if somebody wanted to do a reel where they weren't showing their face, they were doing maybe a tutorial on their phone or something, you can have a background in Canva and then lay a phone over it. And then, you can actually place the video within there. So that's kind of a cool thing that you can do. I don't do as much of that. Every once in a while, when I'm really like have time, then I will do a background and do all of that. And it looks pretty cool and pretty professional. But most of the time I don't have the time to do all that.
And what about, are you trying to, so obviously, well, not obviously, but the LinkedIn algorithm works where, you're getting people to comment. Comments are worth basically double a like. So the more comments you get on a post, the more viral it goes, or more views. Is it a similar thing on Reels, or is Reels just you basically, like you said, it's a 10-second just engagement. There's no call to action. There's no comments. How does that work?
Well, there should be a call to action. So usually I will put something at the end, like follow me for more, follow me for more information or for more tips. I don't always put the call to action in there, but it's a good practice to do. If I don't put it there, I will at least put it in the written out caption. But yeah, I mean, it's still good to get likes. It's still really good to get comments. I always tell people, if you're trying to build on Instagram, go out and leave some comments. I mean, just like LinkedIn, the more you can comment on other people's things, then they're going to, get to know you a little bit better. And a comment is worth so much more than a like, just in terms of, person to person kind of thing. Like I might get, 50 likes on something and I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. But if I had 3 people comment, I'm more apt to go to their profile and be like, oh, well, what's his deal or what's her deal, and look at it. So if you're trying to grow on Instagram, spend a little time every day commenting on either, maybe clients that you're looking at, or other people in the industry that you're trying to network with. It's going to help you get more followers and just get kind of that community built.
And what's the best way to search for those people? Like, for example, for me, the cloud SaaS, how am I best to try to search for the people that are doing it the best in
yeah, well, I mean, hashtags is a great way. So you can, come up with a list of hashtags that maybe you would think of if you were going to post something. What would you use? And then go search under those hashtags. If there's certain other companies, competitors, you can just put in what you think their username would be. Or if I'm assuming you kind of resell other products. Is that?
Yeah, my clients
correct?
do. Yeah. So think of my clients might be selling Salesforce or Microsoft or Zoho,
so maybe
or
go to
HubSpot.
some of their sites as well, and see, what they're doing. That might be a good content source for you as well. If Salesforce is doing something really cool, it's like, oh, well, I could tell my clients or my prospective clients about this feature of Salesforce, and reuse that information, or even share what they have on their page to your stories.
Right. And with LinkedIn, if someone likes or comments on our post, we always encourage people to go and thank them. And, it's a way to start a conversation. Can you do a similar thing with Reels? Do you know exactly who's liked or commented, and can you then DM them?
Yeah. So you have the same kind of area where you can see the likes, you can see the comments. So yeah, I always, if someone comments on my Reels, I always will, shoot back a thank you. Or it's even if you want to keep the conversation going, maybe, if they say something, then ask them, well, what was your favorite part about it? Or what's your favorite tool, or what's your favorite thing about Salesforce, if they're, something like that. So you can definitely comment back.
And can you automate those? Because I sort of heard that, Instagram's now got sort of like a bot, so to speak, with the direct messages. So can that be automated?
Yeah. So I know the direct messages has that capability. I haven't really used that so much, but I don't think it's available in just the regular comments.
Right. Okay.
And
right.
frankly, I like people, I like getting a real response or giving a real response, but it just depends on how many, how many comments you're getting and things like that. And some of the bigger companies, obviously, they might need some kind of bot to answer these types of things. And it makes sense. For my business, I'm a lot smaller, so I'm happy to answer somebody's questions, one-on-one.
Yeah, brilliant. And obviously you can go and get Corey's book, the Instagram for Dummies. Well, so there's 3 out, 4 to come. Is that right?
The fourth one, yes. So if you're interested in learning more about how to use it for business, I have one right here. The Instagram for Business for Dummies covers a lot more in terms of using it as a marketing tool. So it will, tell you how to run ads if you want to run ads through Instagram. And I can tell you, I wrote the chapter on that one and how to use, you can go through Facebook Ads Manager to do a lot of that. And it goes a lot deeper than just Instagram on your mobile phone. Anyway, so I recommend this one usually when I'm talking to businesses because it has a lot more robust marketing information in there.
Brilliant. Fantastic. And also you got the ebook as well, which we'll put the link to. And I know that we'll talk about something else at the end with something that you've given us, which is fantastic. Is there anything else that you see people often miss with Instagram and you just think, oh no, they've missed that again, whether it be on their profile, on the, like you said, you've got Linktree that you use, but is there anything else that you see people do all the time that we could quickly avoid when we're getting more into Instagram?
Well, I would say one of the things that I see a lot of business, especially business to business, I will say, is they'll only post photos. And a lot of times it's stock photos. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I can spot a stock photo a mile away and it's just so boring. Yeah. So if you can, like Instagram has gone leaps and bounds above that era. So if you're out there and you're just posting, a stock photo of somebody at their computer and it's like, come talk to me. That's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah. And I also like, for me personally, I like the variety too. Like I think sometimes, people go, you mentioned Canva, they go crazy with Canva. They got the exact same. And I'm guilty of that sometimes. Like nearly every post looks same, right? So that variability, I'm assuming that works better for the, because we're human, right? So how do we like stimulus and we don't want just a wallpaper of the same thing.
Yeah, that can get a little boring. I mean, I'm all for having a brand color, and sticking with that so that people, if they're scrolling through, they say, oh, yeah, that's Corey, Yes. But yeah, when it's just kind of that same template over and over and over, or I see people doing all they do is quote graphics and it's just like, and it's like, you could just tell they spent one Sunday cranking it out on Canva. So quote graphics are fine if you sprinkle them in, but when it's the whole thing, it just, gets boring.
Brilliant. Well, look, we could talk for a lot longer, but you've given us lots of value. You've also, as I said, at the end, you give more value with a cheat sheet, which would be fantastic to really help us get into this. But why don't we now go into the sales deep dive? So some quick questions and some rapid fire answers. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, great. So the first one is what's a sales habit that you do every day to help you accelerate your sales?
Well, interestingly enough, I go over to LinkedIn and I look through my connections. I look through all of my messages and I just, I will go through and get some new connections on a daily basis, trying to, just make sure I'm connecting with the right people. And then I do like to go on LinkedIn and, like I said, with Instagram, go and comment on different things and like some things and just get that activity going. And I do get sales on LinkedIn as well as Instagram. So that's one thing I do.
Brilliant. Well, that's why we got you on the show, so we can have both as well instead of only LinkedIn. I think we're missing a trick. And the next one is piece of technology. What's a piece of technology that helps you accelerate your sales other than Instagram itself?
Yeah. Well, I use ClickUp a lot, and that's not as much of a sales tool, but it does keep me very organized. And I've been doing more kind of toolkits to help me with my onboarding and things like that. So that is helping in my sales process because I feel like it makes the startup process with someone look more professional versus before I was just kind of like, oh yeah, here's my contract and yeah, just email me, you're this and that, and so now part of my sales process, I do have it in ClickUp as like a formal thing and it links out to Google Docs and all of those good things. So
yeah, great. Well, we're huge fans of ClickUp and we've got some amazing ClickUp partners in our community as well, which I'll mention at the end of the show. And the next is your best source of leads. So we've talked about LinkedIn, we've talked about Instagram. Is there out of all of those, what's your best source of getting new clients?
Well, I still believe I get a lot of clients from Instagram because people will tell me, like, I get a lot of personal referrals.
Yes.
But most of them will tell me like, oh yeah, I've been watching your stuff on Instagram. I really like what you're doing out there. Probably because that is where I'm most active and I share, tons of information. And since I, wrote the books, I really have to keep up on stuff. So for me, Instagram is my biggest referral source, and just keeping up with all of that and posting on a daily basis, I get people coming to me, and sometimes they're coming to me through LinkedIn, but they'll tell me like, oh, I saw your stuff on Instagram. So yeah.
Brilliant. And the last one's a big question. That's why I leave it to the end, but what's one action we can take from today to 10x our sales?
Well, I would definitely say hop on Reels because if you look on your insights, I will look at it and I might say a Reel got 6,000 views, which is a lot more than any video that I would normally do. It might say 3,000 of those were my followers and another 3,000 were non-followers. So it's showing the video to a lot of people that aren't following you yet. So that's just a great resource for getting in front of, new people to follow you and hopefully eventually buy from you.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, I've mentioned a couple of times, but if you can get a free how to create Reels, it's a checklist, and you can go to themarketingspecialist.com/freebies. And also, once you get that checklist, there's also the opportunity to buy the ebook as well, which will give you more detail. And then I'd also recommend highly getting the book. And remember, it's the Instagram for Business, which is the one that Corey's recommending to us. So, Corey, thanks for shining the light on Instagram, in particular Reels. It's something that I will do. I'll hold you as my publisher, so you can be like Wiley for me, where I've got a deadline. I promise I'm going to do one this week, and I'll send it to you to prove. So, wonderful
awesome.
having you on, and look forward to that 4th edition of the book.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Corey. Bye.
Bye.
I really love that interview with Corey, and you could tell that a lot of it was for me, but I'm also for you, because the questions that I ask to coach my clients and also me improving my Instagram is exactly what you may need to be both on LinkedIn and also extend into Instagram. And I think, Reels are a great way to getting people to like, know, and trust you. So if you got a lot of value out of this, why don't you reach out to Corey on Instagram? The link will be in the show notes. And in particular, maybe share a reel that you've done with her, or she'll share something that you've learned out of this from her. You can, as I said, there's all the links, there's a summary, the show notes, and you can also get the full transcription to go to paulhiggins.mentoring.com. And don't forget that wonderful checklist that she's given. So go to the marketingspecialist.com/freebies. So that's the marketingspecialist.com/freebies. You can get that. Also, you can pay a small fee to get a fantastic ebook, or go and get the Instagram for Dummies business version. If you've got 1, 10, whoever peers that you think would get enormous value out of this, to add Instagram to LinkedIn, please share it with them. They'll think you're an absolute sales hero, and thank you for that. Check out the show notes, and also check out some of the solo shows that I do as well, which are very specific topics for cloud consultants. And don't forget our free community, Peers Helping Peers, which is the Cloud Consultants Collective. Go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/CCC. Finally, please take action to accelerate your sales.
I'm fired up after today's episode. What about you? But hey, before you go, learning is just one piece of the puzzle. Now it's time to put today's strategy into action. Head over now to today's show page at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast and share how you'll put it into action. Be sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Tell me what your favorite episode is. And don't wait 1 minute more to gain access to your pulse check at paulhigginsmentoring.com. This could be the difference between struggling to get more leads and making this next quarter your best one yet.